back to the fight against ISIS online. Whatever you call them, ISIS, ISIL, Islamic State, Daesh. It's hard to deny that they become masters of online recruitment and propaganda. And that's exactly what the hacktivist group known as Anonymous is determined to end. Here's part of an online video they posted after the Paris attacks.
This violence should not weaken us. It has to give us the strength to come together and fight tyranny and obscurantism together. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Joining me now is a former member of Anonymous, Greg House. He spent a few months in prison for his role in a software piracy group, then went on to serve as a consultant for the Netflix show House of Cards, now runs a website called Rebel News, which focuses on politics and activism. Greg, it's great to see you. Day after Paris, Anonymous launches this they call it Operation Paris, hashtag #OpParis. Quote, Anonymous from all over the world will hunt you down, meaning ISIS. How do they do that?
Online, the biggest goal for them is going after the recruitment methods. So where they've got social accounts, they're trying to reach, impressionable youth all over the world. They go after websites. They're even looking now in the dark web. And even just today, one of ISIS's dark web websites was replaced by funny pictures by anonymous members. The goal being to really shut down their methods of recruitment.
And from what I've read so far, Anonymous, or whatever Anonymous is suggesting they've shut down 20,000 Twitter accounts. Is that believable?
I don't know that 20,000 is believable. I believe the number is closer to the 5,500 range, but they also have been actually doing this since last August. It's over a year that OpISIS has been running. OpParis was just an extension of that.
And we should be clear, while you were involved early on, you're not informally involved with them now, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, there have been two primary criticisms that I've read of what Anonymous is trying to do. One, that there is far too broad a brush by using keywords and things like that. Journalists who are trying to cover this, Arab speakers, Muslim organizations that are totally innocent and positive are getting swept up in this thing. That's a legit criticism, is it not?
Absolutely a legit criticism. The one thing you have to take is, what does Twitter have to say about that? How many accounts they're actually removing that ended up not being right? They've said that that's a very low number. Twitter, they actually, in an article on Motherboard by Vice, they responded to that saying that it was a very low number of actual accounts that were hit that shouldn't have been.
But that's a problem for the innocents. I mean, I think Anonymous not so long ago was trying to do the similar things with the KKK, and there were a number of people there who were innocent, and you get branded as either ISIS connected or KKK connected. That's a pretty hard thing to shed, is it not?
Well, the KKK one wasn't actually the Anons who were running that up. They had said, we're going to release data a week from now, and then someone else, completely unrelated, using the name, released it that night, and it wasn't the same data set. So who knows who that was?
Okay, and the second criticism I've heard is that while you Anonymous, the good news is you'll disrupt the ability of ISIS to recruit, you also potentially disrupt the ability of intelligence forces to be able to track their activities, because it's through these Twitter accounts often that people who do track them, governments for example, are able to do it, and you remove that ability. How do you plead to that?
Some of the people actually taking part in this, including some of the GhostSec people, who is kind of one of the groups really managing this, are actually dealing with federal agents to deliver the information before it even is given to Twitter or anywhere else. And from what they've said in the interviews they've actually done, including Mr. Smith, the guy at the Kronos Group who is dealing with the federal agents, it's not affecting them in any way adversely, and they actually are appreciative of what's going on.
Is there, but when you say this, I wasn't aware that there is coordination with some government entities, is that true?
There are a few people in the community who are doing that. Others in the community, of course, are kind of against the idea, but it's happening.
Now, those who would hear about this would say on one hand, I think, well, not those, I would say on one hand, the good news is the goal is noble. The bad news is there's this loose association of vigilantes. I mean, that is a fair description of what you used to do and what they are, who may do damage. Maybe they don't intend it, but do damage to things I care about. Why is that not a worry that should be as great as your potential to do good? Vigilantes are, I mean, that's a term most of us use in a pejorative way. You use it in a positive way, correct?
I think in some ways it can be positive. It really depends on what the governments around the world are actually doing and what their capabilities are. They weren't doing this one thing that we think needs to get done. So people stepped up to do it themselves.
And so what's the end game? Be as optimistic but realistic, if that is an oxymoronic. What can Anonymous do? What can they potentially achieve in their war against ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it?
Being as realistic as I can. The one thing that I think they can achieve is making it really hard for them to recruit online, making it hard for them to get to the impressionable youth in other countries that might do things like what happened in Paris. Sure, those people didn't come from there, but it's the same idea. and making it where they have to keep rebuilding all of these accounts anew every single time, slowing them way down.
I hope you're right, Greg Hausch. It's good to see you. Good luck with your news service. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.